go ahead and hop into this story. And let's see how Steve likes this story. Steve, I think you're going to love this story. Although, this is what they call scary ghost stories at Christmas time. Yes, it is. This is a scary ghost story. Can you come here? Go away. Everyone is watching you, Steve. They don't care about me, they care about you. Because I know everyone is looking at this magnificent creature. Well, as magnificent as you could possibly be. All right. So, the story brings us to old England, London town with a little boy and Mr. Ebenezer Scrooge working away in his tiny little office. And he says, ha ha, this is going to prove an immensely profitable year. The firm of Scrooge and Marley. In a little dismal cell off to the side was little Bob Cratchit. This cold is so unbearable, I guess I'll try to replenish it. As he walks into Ebenezer Scrooge's office, Ebenezer Scrooge snaps at him. He says, where are you going? You don't like that, those Scrooge. And he says, oh, I was just going to replenish my coals. You are indeed? Well then, perhaps you better find yourself a new situation. Now back to work. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Little Bob Cratchit goes back into his office where he's so cold, kind of like a husky in the snow. He's so cold, and he wraps his little blanket and comforter around him for warmth. And he thinks, that old miser, I do everything I can, and he's so ungrateful. And suddenly, a very cheerful, boisterous voice comes crashing into the room. And a Merry Christmas, Uncle, and God save you. What's that? Bah, humbug. That's what I'm saying for your Christmas present. Bah, humbug to you. Yes. Christmas humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that, I'm sure. And what right do you to have to be merry? You're poor enough. Come here. And what right do you have to be dismal and downhearted? You are rich enough. If I had my way, every idiot who goes about with this Merry Christmas on his lips would be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly in his heart. You keep Christmas in your way, and I'll keep Christmas in mine. Yes, I got you. Stuff's falling off, Steve. We have stuff falling off. All of our props, they're falling away. That's okay. But, Uncle, you don't keep it in any way. To me, it is a fine and blessed thing, and though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good, and I say, God bless. Little Bob Cratchit walked in his tiny little office and says, bravo, bravo. Let me hear another peep out of you, and you'll keep your Christmas somewhere else. Oh, I'm sorry, sir, says Bob Cratchit. The clerk poked at the last little coal that was barely keeping him warm. Thought I should try to control my emotions. Don't be angry, Uncle. Come dine with us tomorrow, says the nephew of Ebenezer Scrooge. I'll see you in Hades first. Good afternoon, nephew. I am sorry with all of my heart to find you so obstinate, but I will keep my Christmas humor till the last. So Merry Christmas, Uncle, and a Happy New Year. As the nephew departed and greeted Bob Cratchit, two portly gentlemen walked in. Scrooge and Marley, I believe. Have I the pleasure of addressing Scrooge, or maybe Marley? Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years. He died 7 years ago this night. We have no doubt of his generosity, well represented by his surviving partner. What's this? Shaking his head, Scrooge handed the papers back to the portly man. We could appreciate a contribution for the many thousands of poor and destitute who are in need. What? There are no prisons. There are no workhouses. Sticky fingers. You are doing a fantastic job. You're falling asleep already? Seriously? That's pathetic. Here, have a ball. There you go. And off we go. There, sir, I am sorry to say, but we choose this time. When want and needy felt, the abundance rejoices. What shall I put you down for, sir? Nothing. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. So I must bid you good afternoon, gentlemen. At length, the hour for closing arrived. You'll want all day off tomorrow, I suppose, said Scrooge to Bob Cratchit. If quite convenient, sir. It's not convenient. It's not fair. You'll want a day's wages, I suppose. A poor man's excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. However, I expect you be here all the earlier next morning. See, that's like you. You need to help me more. Do more work. Yeah, do more work. Okay. Steven's going to start doing work. I will, sir. And a good afternoon, sir. Scrooge made his way home in the dreary section, dark and cloudy part of town on this very cold night. Christmas humbug. As he walked up into his door and pulled the key out of his pocket, he started to put the key into the lock. And as he looked up, the face on the knocker no longer looked like the face it did before. In fact, it looked like his old deceased partner, Jacob Marley. Good heavens, that looks like Marley. And as Scrooge fixed his look on the knocker, the face disappeared. It was just my imagination, Scrooge said. Fastening the door, he walked slowly up the stairs, trimming the candle as he went. It was a remarkable likeness to that sinner Marley. As he bolted the door, he walked about his house. And then as he bolted the door to his room, he could not erase the image of Marley that he had stuck when he looked at the knocker. Stuff and nonsense. Old Marley as dead as a doornail. Dead, I say. But Scrooge felt restless, and to try to ease his mind, he walked about the entire house, searching room and room, just to make sure nothing was out of place. There's nothing under the bed, and nothing in this room, and nothing in the closet. Nobody here. Empty as I should have known. Guess I'll have my gruel and go to bed. Putting his dressing gown on and nightcap, he sat down before the fire to drink his gruel. And as he ate, Marley's image kept continuing to haunt him. And all about the room as he looked, he kept seeing Marley's image in all the different pictures about the room. Jumping up, he took several turns and walked back and forth in the room. You're hopeless. You are a hopeless dog. Hopeless, I said. All right. Throwing himself back in his chair, he was almost started out of his wits. As he sat in the room, he looked above, and there was this bell. The bell had been used for years ago by people in the upper chambers. Hello, Stephen. Hello, young man. What? Are you ready for the bell? And just as he sat and he looked up at the bell, he could hear it starting to ring. And just like Steve, he was very unsure. He was very unsure about the bell. And he looked very curiously in a way. Oh, Stephen, you're too much. Okay. No sooner than the bell had ceased ringing when Scrooge was aware of a clanking deep down in the lower parts of the house. And it's the cellar door. Oh, you scared, Steve? It's such a scary story. It is. It's a scary story. Yes. I'll protect you, Stephen. I will protect you. Yes, I will. Are you a good boy? Okay, you ready? We got more. There's more. Okay. No, there's more. There's more story. There's more story, Steve. Stephen. Oh, Stephen. Come on. Come on. Are you coming? Or what are you doing? You frisky little thing. All right. We're in a park here. Let's say, no sooner did the bell stop ringing, you heard the deep down noise in the basement. They do say that ghosts that have haunted houses sometimes drag their chains behind them. Oh, Stephen. Yes, they do. Yes. Hey, you're not getting the trees. The trees are hiding from you. Yes, they are. Because you're obnoxious. You are obnoxious, Stephen. Okay, here we go. Suddenly, he heard the cellar door fly open with a booming sound coming up from downstairs. And then he heard the chains. He heard the chains, Stephen. Yes, okay, watch out. And he heard the chains. And as he heard the chains, wait, we got chains. All right, here we go. Woo! All right, hold on. There we go. And as he heard the chains, yes, it's very exciting, Steve. Yes, okay, now we're ready. The chains, see, here, do you want chains? Do you want chains too? Hi, okay. Wait, the book's upside down. And as he heard the chains, a figure appeared through the door, Stephen. It appeared through the door. Yeah, I would run too. I really would. You are the most obnoxious thing ever. How now? What do you want from me? Scrooge says. Ask me who I was in life. I was your partner, Jacob Marley. Scrooge looked in amazement. He could not understand how his deceased partner from 7 years ago was there. Scrooge looked at Marley and said, Can you sit down? Without hesitation, the ghost sat down near the fireplace as if though he was quite used to it. You and I really are the same spirit. I am Jacob Marley, but do you doubt that you are Ebenezer Scrooge? That's what it's changed, Steve. Because of a slight disorder of the stomach can make things seem what they really are not. You may be an undigested bit of beef. Are you hiding from the ghost? Are you? You're all up under the chain and everything, Steve. I love it. Or maybe even a fragment of an underdone potato. See this toothpick? I have but to swallow this, and I will be cursed with a legion of goblins in all creation. At this, the spirit raised in fearful cry and removed the bandage and shook his chains. He shook his chains? Stephen, he shook. Steve's supposed to be scared. You're not scared of the chains. That's okay. And as he shook the chains, Scrooge fell to his knees. Oh, you can be Scrooge right now. Mercy, mercy, dreadful apparition, why do you trouble me? Man of the worldly mind, do you believe in me or not? I do, I must, but why spirits walk the earth, and why do they come to me? Cried Scrooge. And Marley says, because like you, I never walked among my fellow men when alive. And I am condemned to do so after death, to witness all of the things that I could have shared while on earth. My time is nearly gone. I am here to warn you that you have yet one chance of escaping my same fate. You are always a good friend to me, Jacob Marley, always a good friend. You will be haunted, you will be haunted by three spirits, besides the Marley spirit, because that's a different one. Hello, without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path that I tread, except the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1. Couldn't I take him all at once and just get it over with, Jacob? Expect the second on the night, the next night, and at the same hour, and the third on the following night, when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. With these words, the specter wrapped the bandage back around his head. As the ghost retreated at each step it took, the window slowly raised. Come close to me, Ebenezer. Bidding Scrooge to come no further, the specter floated out the dark, bleak window. Scrooge looked out through his curiosity and looked out the window and saw the air filled with phantoms, and many of whom he had known. Many of whom, he was like people he knew, lots of people. And Scrooge saw them in their lives, and he could see that they were all burdened with chains, just like Jacob Marley, tied by the regret of all the things they didn't do in this life, or the life before they were the phantoms. Kind of like when you think about doing something and then you wish you would have done it. No, wait, you do everything you want. You want something. Okay. So Scrooge ran back to the door. He had to see how Marley got in. Locked and bolted just as I left it. I guess I will just go to bed. Too tired to undress, Scrooge went straight to bed. Oh wait, we're done with chains, Steve. Wait, hold on. The chains are done. Okay. Hold on. Oh, the chains are done. Oh, that's a boy. See, you're no longer bound by chains, Stephen. No longer bound by chains. No, you're no longer bound by chains. Okay, where are we? He was awakened by the chimes of the neighboring church. It struck 6, it struck 7, then 8, and regularly up to 12. 12 o'clock. That must be wrong. An icicle must have got into the clock. I know it was after 2 before I went to bed. Why is it possible that I have slept through the entire night into another day? Scrooge went back to bed, but tossed about and unable to sleep. It has been a horrible, horrible dream. That's all it was. It was just a dream. You are so crazy. You really are. He listened as the bell tolled quarter, and then half, and then 3/4, 1 o'clock. And suddenly the lights flashed up, and we have lights. Hold on. Here we go. We got that one. Hold on. There we go. I don't want you to do that. There, lights. We have lights. Yes, it was like that. Yeah, see, it was like that. Okay, there's a light. Okay, excellent. Okay. I am the ghost of Christmas past, and out of the shadows appeared this ghost, very angelic in form and very faint. The ghost seemed very small, but also very old, with long, long hair, but skin of that of a child. Of a child, I say. Of a child, yes. No, wait, are you going to tell me where we're at? All right, good job. This is a feat all of its own. I swear. All right, where are we? We are here. Oh, we're here. We're here, Steve. But what in the blessings brings you here? Your welfare and reclamation. Rise and walk with me, the Spirit says. The Spirit led him gently to the window. But I am mortal. I am liable to fall. Bear but you touch my hand, and you shall be upheld in more than this. As the phantom spoke, they passed through the wall and stood upon a country road. It was clear and cold winter day with the snow on the ground. Good heavens, good heavens! As Scrooge looked around, he noticed this place. This is a place that I was born. Why, I know all these people. I knew them once. These are but the shadows of things that have been. They are unaware of our presence. Yeah. The ghost led Scrooge to the door of a little schoolhouse and pointed out the form of a lonely boy reading on a near feeble night. Scrooge recognized it was him as a child. Poor, poor little boy, always alone and neglected and shunned by his friends. And then suddenly, remember those characters? Why, yes, it's Ali Baba. Yes, I know him. And Valentine and his wild brother, Orson, and they go in the subtle. And they were all the characters of the books that Scrooge had found friendships in. And there's Robinson Crusoe, and his man Friday, and the parrot. Seized with a pity for his former self, Scrooge broke down and cried. Poor, poor boy. I wish, but it was not too late. What was the matter? Nothing, nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol at my door last night, and I should have given him something. I should have. Let us see yet another Christmas. Smiling through the ghost, waved his hand. Scrooge's former self grew larger, and the words in the room became darker and dirtier. Dear, dear brother, have I come to bring you home, brother? Little fawn? Yes, yes, good old forever and ever. We will be together at long last, the merriest Christmases of all. She, being Scrooge's younger sister, the spirit of the Christmas past, says, she had a large heart. I know she died a woman, and I think she had children. Yes, one child, my nephew. The ghost led Scrooge to a warehouse, and he entered. Why, it's old Fezziwig. Bless his heart, it's Fezziwig. He's alive again. As Scrooge looked upon where he used to apprentice, Fezziwig being who guided him in learning. Fezziwig speaks, Yo-ho there, Ebenezer and Richard. Scrooge's former self, now a young man, comes briskly accompanied by his fellow apprentice. Richard and Dick, to be sure, bless me, yes. The one who is learning the trade is the apprentice. Yo, me lads, no more work tonight. Christmas Eve, come clear away and let's make merry. Get them all ready. Let's get everyone here. And soon the halls were filled. In just a moment, the room resounded with merry tunes of a fiddler and the joyous shouts of happy dancers. As Scrooge watched the merry dancers and acted like a man out of his wits, his heart and his soul were in sync with his former self. The ghost spoke up. My time grows short. The scene faded, and again Scrooge saw his former self. This time, a man in the prime of his life. By his side sat a fair young lady. You are not quite a fair young lady. You're like a fair young husky. Yes, a fair young husky you are. Alas, Ebenezer, I've been your noblest aspirations fall off one by one, until the master passion gain has completely possessed you. What? What then? I am not charged towards you that I am? Perhaps, but your nature has changed your spirits. Everything that made me love you of any value has fallen from your sight. I release you from our engagement with a full heart for the love of the man you used to be. May you be happy in the life you have chosen. Ebenezer looked at her, somewhat bewildered, but knew how focused on his work he had become. He had stopped spending time or really being who he once was. As she departed, Scrooge cried out in anguish, Spirit, show me no more. Why do you delight in torturing me? No more, Shadow. Just one more. No, one more. I don't wish to see one more. But the reluctant ghost forced him to observe. Eek, sticky. The scene changed, and the same fair young girl, now a comely matron with her husband and child. Belle, I saw, be an old friend of yours this afternoon. Who, by tell? Not Mr. Scrooge. Why, yes, it was Mr. Scrooge. I passed his office window, and I could scarcely help seeing him. His partner lies at the point of death, I hear. And there he sat, alone working, quite alone in the world, I do believe. Again, Scrooge cried in terror. I told you these were shadows of the things that have been. Do not blame me, the spirit, for what they are. But spirit, cried out Scrooge, remove me from this place. Remove me. I cannot bear it. And desperately he reached for the ghost. Leave me. Take me back. Haunt me no longer. But suddenly, Scrooge was conscious of being back in his bedroom. As irresistible drowsiness came over him, and he sat and sank into a heavy sleep. Are you being Scrooge sleeping right now? I think you're being Scrooge sleeping right now. That's what I think. Awakened promptly at the stroke of one, Scrooge saw the room and filled with a strange, eerie light from across the way. This ghostly light, perhaps it comes from that room. Perhaps it comes from the room over there. And Scrooge slowly walked to the room and pulled open the curtains, only to see. Hold on, Steve, grab another pop. Hold on. Wait, here we go. I got it. Hold on. Wait, there we go. All right, we got more. Oh, wait, it's not going to work. There. Okay, Steve, we're ready, I think. And as he looked into the room, he saw this very large man in a robe with a wreath kind of about his head. You have never seen someone like me before, have you? I am the ghost of Christmas present, a very jovial, obnoxious like you, spirit. Touch my robe, but spirit, conduct me where you will. I have learned a lesson last night, which is working now. You, all right, teach me what you will, so I may profit by it. Immediately the room vanished about them, and they were on the streets of Christmas morning. And as they walked the streets, people were rushing about, preparing for Christmas. Come with me to yonder house, Scrooge looked upon. That is the house of my clerk, Bob Cratchit. And as he approached the door, the ghost stopped to bless Cratchit's dwelling with the sprinkles from his torch. Think of that. Cratchit has but 15 shillings a week, and yet he blesses his wretched 4-room house as though it were a palace. Holding on to his robe, Scrooge followed the ghost into the house, only to see the family all about. So this is the Cratchit's family? Mother smelled, one of the child speaks out. I smell the goose. It's in the baker's window. It must be ours. But where is your father, says the mother. Your brother, Tiny Tim, and Martha. She wasn't late last Christmas by a half an hour. Here I am. I'm here. As Martha walks in the door, the mother rushes over to Marla. Why, bless your heart, Martha. How late? Why are you so? Oh, work was a deal. It was work I had to finish last night and then to clear away this morning, Mother. Well, never mind, so long as you are here. Sit ye down by the fire, my dear. Lord bless you. I see Father coming. And just then, Bob Cratchit burst in the door with the tiniest of tiny children on his shoulders. It's Tiny Tim. Where's Martha? Isn't Martha here? And the mother speaks out, she's not coming. And Bob Cratchit says, what? Not coming on Christmas Day? Unwilling to hurt her father's feelings, Martha rushed into her father's arms. Oh, Martha, what a joke you play on your father. As he set down Tiny Tim and they washed him off, took him off to take his bath. And how did Tim behave? Oh, as good as gold and better. He told me coming home, he hoped the people saw him in church because he might please them to remember on this day who made the lame people walk and who made the blind people see. At last the feast was served, and it was all finished, and the family gathered around the freshly lit fire. And Bob Cratchit says to the family, a Merry Christmas to us all. Bless us all, and the children resounded, "Merry Christmas." And Tiny Tim spoke, God bless us, everyone." Bob held the little withered hand of his son, Tiny Tim. He dreaded that Tim might be taken from him. Showing sudden interest in Tim like he had before, Scrooge looks to the Spirit. "Spirit, tell me, if Tiny Tim will live." The Spirit spoke, or at least not feeling very well. "I see a vacant chair in the chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, if shadows remain unaltered. By the future, the child will die." "No, no," said Scrooge. "No, please, kind Spirit." Pitifully, the ghost repeated the very words. "What if he should not live? If he to die, he had better do it and decrease the population." The Spirit repeated Scrooge's words. "Who are you to decide what men shall live or die in the sight of heaven? You may be more worthy to live than millions like this poor man's child." As Scrooge heard his words, trembling came before him, and the ghost rebuked to Scrooge, startled the mention at his own name. "To Mr. Scrooge," says Bob Cratchit, "I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of our feast." "The founder? The founder indeed," cried Mr. Cratchit. "I wish you were here, and I would give him a piece of my mind." "Hush, hush, dear, the children. If not fitting on Christmas Day that one drink the health of odious, stingy, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge, nobody knows what better than you, Robert." "Again," Bob interposed, "remember, dear, it's Christmas." "I will drink to health for his health to you, Bob, and for the sake of the day, but not for his. A Merry Christmas to Mr. Scrooge, if it has any meaning for him at all." On through the streets that sped off with the ghost, with Scrooge clinging tightly to his robe. Soon upon they stood on a bleak moor. A place where miners who labored under the earth? What is this place? Inside the hut they found a cheerful company singing a song. "See, they are poor and destitute, but they know me, they know the spirit of Christmas present." Again they hurried on, and sped back into the heavy sea. They landed on a ship, and as each of the members on the ship cried out to each other, "A Merry Christmas to you, sir, and the same to you," extended my greetings to the men and their stations. "We will all go below for Christmas carols soon as the winds die down." Suddenly, Scrooge was surprised to hear a familiar voice. "Why, ain't that sounds? Ha, ha, ha!" He could hear his nephew laughing aloud. "Ha, ha!" he said, and then he said, "Bah humbug!" and he believed it too. "More shame!" cried out one of the girls. "On him, Fred. I am sure he is very rich, at least you tell me he is." Scrooge's nephew speaks. "What of it, dear? What does no good that he has it? He hasn't the satisfaction of thinking that he is going to benefit us or anyone." And the nephew says, nieces say, "I have no patience with him." And the nephew says, I feel sorry for him. I am going to be nice to him on every Christmas, so he may even be given the clerk even just a raise." After tea, they had some music, and they played games, and entering into the spirit, Scrooge joined them, and although the company was unaware of his presence, Scrooge happily tried to play along. "Let's play, yes, no, let's play that game, Fred." As Fred, Scrooge's nephew, says, "Why not, my dear? I will start off with some questions myself." Scrooge pleaded with the spirit to stay just a little longer. "My time is short." But there's a new game. Please, Spirit, just only 1.5 hours longer." The nephew says, "All right, my friends, let's fire away." And at every question to him, the nephew burst into a roar of laughter. "Ha, ha, ha!" The questions came thick and fast. Is it a live animal? Rather, a disagreeable animal. Does it sometimes talk? Is it a horse? Is it a cow? As one of the women said, I know what it is, Fred. I know it is your Uncle Scrooge. Then brought forth a fresh gale of laughter, and the nephew raised his glass. Why, yes, he has given plenty of merriment, and it would be ungrateful not to drink to his health and a Merry Christmas to the old man, Uncle Scrooge, wherever he may be. Scrooge looked on. Thank ye, my friends, and a Merry Christmas. My life upon this globe is very brief, and it ends tonight. And in that moment, the jovial spirit of Christmas present faded away. And all of a sudden, as the spirit faded away, appeared a figure, a very dark and scary figure. So just then, a spirit arose up and behind Scrooge, a very tall figure in a robe. Scrooge trembled as he looked upon the figure, as it only had the cloak and the robe, and he could not even see his face. Deeply disturbed by what he saw, Scrooge was whisked away to a dilapidated junk shop where he sees belongings of what might have been belonging to a dead man. As they spoke to each other, ha ha, this is his gold. And at the end of it, you'll see, he frightened everyone away from him. And then there was no one there to protect his stuff. So when he was alive, we couldn't profit. But now when he's dead, we surely do. Oh, Spirit, I see the case of this unhappy man. This might have been my own. The scene vanished, and suddenly they stood in Scrooge's bedroom. Merciful heavens, what is this? Calmly the spirit pointed to his head. No, Spirit, I have not the power to look. If there is any person who feels emotion caused by this man's death, show me that person. Show me someone who cares. The room faded, and they were in the presence of a couple at a dinner table. The lady says to the man, Then you have bad news, dear? He will not give us more time to meet our debt? It is beyond my power, Caroline. The man is dead. But to whom? Who will claim our debt? Who will it be transferred, she says. I don't know, but before that time, we shall be ready with the money. Again, Scrooge pleaded with the man. Let me see some tenderness connected with his death. Otherwise, Spirit, that dark chamber which we left just now will forever haunt me. The host conducted him through the streets, and they entered poor Bob Cratchit's house. Cratchit's house? Can it be Tiny Tim? No, Spirit, tell me it cannot be Tiny Tim. But as they entered the room, tremendously Scrooge followed the phantom across the threshold. Bob Cratchit's wife. You mustn't, for the world, show your father you've been crying when he comes home. It must be his time now. As the children spoke, past it rather, but I think he walked a little slower since Tiny Tim, the last few evenings, Mother. The mother spoke up. I have known him to walk with Tiny Tim on his shoulders very fast indeed. He loved him so, And Bob Cratchit walked in the door. What an industrious family. How was everyone this fine day? Soon Bob Cratchit came in, trying to appear cheerful. His wife spoke up. Tell me, Robert, tell me where you were today. Yes, my dear, and I wish you could have gone. Everything's so green. I promised him I would walk there on every Sunday. Unable to contain himself, Bob Cratchit started to cry. My little boy, my little boy. No, you're not Tiny Tim. You're like Tiny Terror. Yes, you're Tiny Terror. Yes. Deeply affected, by the scene that he had just witnessed. Scrooge cried in anguish. Spectre, somehow, I feel that our parting moment, it must be at hand. Tell me what this man has done. Who I saw dying in that bed? The spirit led him to a shabby, unkept graveyard. Before I draw near to that stone which you point, answer me one question. Are these the shadow of things that will be, or shadows that will come? The spirit remained speechless. Still the ghost just pointed at the one tombstone. Merciful heavens! As Scrooge appeared to look onto his own tombstone. No, no, spirit. Spirit, me, not me. I am not that man I was. I have learned so much. Show me what I can do. What can I do, Stephen? For the first time, the hand appeared to shake. And Scrooge says, I will honor Christmas. I will honor it in my heart. I will keep it all year. I will not shut out the lessons that the three spirits have taught me. Oh, tell me, what can I do? Good spirit, your nature intercedes for me. It pities me. Assure me that I may yet change these shadows. Please, spirit. Trembling with emotion, he caught a hold of the hand of the spectre. And suddenly, the phantom shrunk and collapsed and dwindled beyond the bedpost. The ghost has got to go away, Steve. What up? Anytime. Okay, Stephen, where are you at? Yeah, I thought so. All right, where are we? And then Scrooge looked about. I'm in my bed. I'm in my room. I still have time to make amends. As he scrambled out of his bed, he cried out with joy. I will live. I will live in the past, and I will live in the present, and I will live in the future. Oh, Jacob Marley, heavens, Jacob Marley, thank you for this day. And Scrooge arose. I don't know what to do. I am as happy as an angel, as merry as a schoolboy. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all. A Happy New Year to the world. He was checked in his joy by the church's ringing. Out the lustiest reels as ever. Church bells? Can it be? As Scrooge looked out the window, he looked down and saw a young boy. Hello down there. What day is it today? The young boy looked up. Today? Why, today it's Christmas Day, sir. It's Christmas Day? I haven't missed it. Hello, lad. Go to the poultry and see if he still has that prize turkey. You know, the big one, the big turkey. And go get it. If you go get it, I will give you a half-a-crown. And then Scrooge thought to himself, I will send it to Bob Cratchit's house. He shan't know who sent it. It is twice the size of even Tiny Tim. Yes, twice the size of Tiny Tim. Paying the boy well for his trouble, Scrooge shaved, dressed himself in his finest clothes, and went down to the streets. As he passed, he gladly said hello to everyone. As he passed someone, good morning, sir, and a Merry Christmas. Of the sweet words I have heard, those are the sweetest to me. He had not gone far when he had met the gentleman who had walked into the office, the portly. Remember the portly gentleman? Yeah, probably because they had too many treats. Yes, they had too many treats. They were portly because they had too many treats. Okay. Dear sir, how do you do? I hope you... And so as Scrooge approached, I got it all wrong. As Scrooge approached the man, Dear sir, how do you do? I hope you succeed. Put the tongue on the other side. I hope you succeeded yesterday in your Merry Christmas. Mr. Scrooge? Yes, that is my name. And I fear it may not be a most pleasant name, that you will have the goodness to accept my donation of £20. Lord bless me, my dear Mr. Scrooge. Are you serious? Why, yes, if you please, and not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it. I assure you. Will you do me that favor? I do. I don't know what to say. As he approached a home, he knocked on the door, and a young maiden answered the door. Is your master home, dear? As she responded, Yes, sir. He is in the dining room with the mistress. I'll show you upstairs if you please. Sliding his face in the door, Scrooge called out, It's your uncle, Uncle Scrooge. I have come to dine with you. Will you let me in, Fred? Fred looks up. Why, yes. Why, bless my soul. Received joyfully by his nephew and niece, Scrooge had the happiest time of his life. As his nephew looked up, it is wonderful having you here, Uncle, just wonderful. Scrooge says to him, You'll never understand how much it means to me. A night of wonderful games and happiness were had, and Scrooge played all the games and spent all the time with them. Stephen, are you looking for treats? Because there's no treats over there. I have the treats. You want to see? See, I have them. This is like gold and silver to you. Yes. Okay. And as the niece walks up to the uncle, Oh, Uncle, we were so afraid you would not come. And Uncle Scrooge responds, I wouldn't have missed it. I wouldn't have missed it for all the money in the world. The next morning, Scrooge shaved and got himself ready. I must go to the office early this morning. I must get there before Bob Cratchit gets there. As he walked along, he chuckled at the little joke he had played on his clerk. I can just see how Bob Cratchit's face now, as I called him down for being late. Good, he isn't here. The clock struck 9, then 15, and then no Bob. Wonderful. Cratchit's 15 minutes late. 3 minutes later, Bob Cratchit stepped in meekly to his little office. I hope Mr. Scrooge is easy on me for not being late. Hello, what do you mean coming here this time of day? Bob Cratchit responded. I'm very sorry, sir. I am behind this morning. You are? Yes, I think you are. Step this way, if you please. Bob Cratchit walked in. It's only once a year, sir. I shall not be repeated. I was making merry yesterday, sir. He must have had a hangover from all the stuff from back then. But that's okay. Now, I tell you what, my friend. I am not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, I am about to raise your salary. Scared out of his wits, Cratchit made a grab for a ruler. Good heaven, man, must be out of his mind. Merry Christmas, Bob. I shall raise your salary and endeavor to assist your family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon. Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good of a man as the town had ever known. To Tiny Tim, Scrooge was like a second father. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him. They would say, that can't be the same Scrooge we've always known. He looks happy. Scrooge would see this and hear this, and he would think to himself, let him laugh. My own heart is full of laughter, and that is quite enough. And it was said of Scrooge that he knew how to keep Christmas well. Well, better than any man alive. And so as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. A little side note. Charles Dickens, there's a little thing in the back of the book. He was born on February 17, 1812. He was the son of John and Elizabeth Dickens. John Dickens was a clerk at the Naval Pay Office. He had a poor head for finances, and in 1824 found himself in prison for debt. His wife and children, with the exception of Charles, who was put to work at the Warrens blackening factory, joined him in the Muleshoe prison, where the family finances were put at least partly to rights, and his father was released. The 12-year-old Charles Dickens, already scarred psychologically by the experience, was further wounded by his mother's insistence that he continue to work at the factory. His father, however, rescued him from that fate. In between 1824 and 1827, Dickens was a day pupil at the school in London at 15. He found employment as an office boy and then at an attorney's. When he studied shorthand at night, his brief stint at the Blackling factory haunted him all of his life. He spoke of it only to his wife and to his closest friend, John Forrester. But the dark secret became a source of both creative energy and the preoccupation with the themes of alienation and betrayal, which would emerge most notably in David Copperfield and The Great Expectations, both books that he wrote. He then became a freelance reporter, and then his relationship with Maria ended, but probably because her parents did not think he was a good match because he was so poor. He slowly worked his way up and then ended up writing The Christmas Carol. So, it's such a good book. It's such a good story. We all know it. I think it makes us think about a lot of things. We so often will, shine the light on our past. The characters in the story are interesting. That your Ghost of Christmas Past is jovial and childlike, but also old at the same time, but safe. And when we look back at our memories, it's kind of like we're shining a light into the room. When we think back on a memory, it's not the same as when we experience it. We think about how things were and so on. So often I'll meet people that, they'll say, well, my old dog was so good. Their memories of that, the potty training and all of those things. At the time they were going through them was frustrating, and they peed on their favorite rug, and they peed on this, and they chewed up that, and they tore up the couch, and all of those things. Stephen, did you abandon me? And all of those things that happened. Even when we look back on our past and it was hard, it was sad, we have a tendency to still find a certain amount of security and safety in those memories. Because, when we look back on it, we survived. We made it. So no matter how hard our past was, our past ends up giving us security very far in the future. So we have a tendency to like our past. It's a sense of stability. The ghost of Christmas present, of all the possibilities and the things that we can do and things that we can say, and everything lies before us, and it's right here, and it's right now, and it's the feast that we're having now, and it's the fun that we're having now, and it's the things that we can do now. And we feel like there are so many possibilities, and it's so joyous. But then when we think about the ghost of the future, it's kind of interesting that that's the scary one. We all have so many possibilities in our future, but the future's also unknown. Even in times right now, we struggle to wonder what even next year at this time is going to be like. We don't ever want to fear our future. Our past is what grounds us. Our presence is where we have our choices and make our decisions. And our future is a combination of our imagination, our past, and our present moment. We don't want to spend too much time on any of them. We want to spend a little bit of time in each of them. We want to always focus on what we've learned from our past, who we are. No matter where we came from, Charles Dickens wrote one of the most classic, famous Christmas stories of all time. It didn't have the best childhood. You were the best. But he believed. He believed in something else. He believed in himself. He believed in his future. And he did everything he could to change that future in the present. So I hope everyone has enjoyed another story time with Steve and Santa. Hope you enjoyed the silly little props and the silly little stuff.